in the suburbs of Boston, there are 4 companies using robots to build apartment buildings. And it's easy to confirm all 4 companies with current robotics technology. You're looking at being able to build apartment buildings with 80% less human labor than you need now. So the idea that there's a shortage of apartments, I kind of reject. Now, when it comes to food,
it's not housing, not apartments, housing, just housing in general. There's already a shortage of housing, but there would definitely, that shortage would be exacerbated by crippling our budget population in this 30-year period, bro. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you would need to pace this out in a way where you basically don't doom those incoming families to poverty and all kinds of other things.
There's only a housing crisis due to the Airbnb type marketplace, and then the corporate conglomerates getting into the real estate market as opposed to individual sellers. That's the big reason why we're having a housing crisis.
Factors. Those aren't the only ones.
No, I'm saying those are the main.
I don't know if that's true, but they are contributing factors.
Well, those two contributing factors hyperinflate the marketplace, which eliminates the ability for people who are looking for that first house to be able to purchase the house. When I bought my first house at $245,000, my second house was $450,000, but now it's worth over $1 million, and that's because of corporations buying houses in my neighborhood.
That's partly because of that. I agree that they have that effect that you described. That's not in dispute. But is that a bigger contributing factor than a whole bunch of government red tape that doesn't allow for the building of affordable houses?
There's
absolutely. They need to remove a lot of. Oh no, you should not have the city, county, state, and federal red tape to go through when you want to build something. Like me, in the past, I've mentioned it multiple times, I've tried to do the multiple generational living. I live in New Hampshire, I have a good amount of acreage, and I'm not able to put a second dwelling on my property without having to pay an absorbent amount of fees in order to get
the point of the goal is it's not clear that's the stuff you said was a bigger contributing factor than what I just described, or even something like shortage of construction workers. They're all
that's fair. There's evidence.
So where we agree though is that the things you named are contributing factors. I don't know how to enumerate how big of contributing factors are they relative to each other. That's the ultimate point I was making. But yeah, like my ultimate point though about this birth thing is we would have to, like, it's not just a matter of promoting childbirth. It's also a matter of like family planning at a macro scale. Like we have to make sure that our infrastructure can accommodate that many more people in that short span of time. So we would have to do the work of expanding our hospital capacities, expanding our neighborhood capacities, expanding our capacities at our schools, expanding the amount of affordable housing that was available to people, creating lots of job opportunities. Like we'd have to do a lot of shit to our infrastructure to accommodate. That would be like a baby supernova boom, like that. That would be a baby boom at a scale I don't think any country has ever seen in that short span of time.
No, I agree. I don't think we necessarily need $1 billion. I get the process and like, yes, if you're going to do it, but I think we could smart number immigration process, bring in higher value individuals. I know it's a terrible term, but it is what it is. Because you can get the lower value trade type work from Americans that are here. My brother owns a company that does something, but he's constantly getting beat out on bids because he can't afford to pay his people based on the rates that other people that migrant workers are able to be paid. So yeah, the high end, like I don't think we necessarily need $1 billion people. I think we just need to be more smart on how we're using policy.
But ironically, and I wasn't going to even make this point to this now, but ironically, you would also maximize your need for low skilled labor. like if you're trying to like infuse your infrastructure with a bunch of buildings, you're going to need a lot of construction workers. And
there are a lot here, though. There are a lot here. It really doesn't matter.
they're not enough for what we're trying to accomplish in 30 years.
But
And I'm only going to 30 year timeline because that's what he specified. But like ironically, that would actually make a higher demand for low skilled labor than y'all are letting on.
But there's a lot of shit to fill that demand within the country. Like I said, my brother, who happens to be white, owns a company, and he has a hard time sourcing stuff to keep his guys active. I also have my brother-in-law, so my wife is Mexican. My brother-in-law lives in Jacksonville, Florida. He does cement work, and he has his own crew, and he has a hard time with the bidding process.
But
he's a Mexican-American.
We don't have a lot of people who are skilled strawberry pickers, for example, or skilled orange pickers, or whatever. We just don't. We don't have them. It's one of the reasons why we import so many people from other countries who can do those things and do those things. Maybe if you're trying, like policy-wise, or orienting around some kind of massive farm labor training program to try to get U.S. citizens to do it, maybe. I mean, the thing is, training programs have historically been like really hit and miss, and probably more miss than hit. Typically, when you're trying to retrain people out of certain things into other things, it's like really bad. But you'd have to figure out a way to, even though they're low skilled or whatever, you have to figure out a way to get a lot of Americans to get the skills necessary to, like, you know, pick the crops and stuff like that. And presumably because they're low skilled, it would probably be easier than training people to, like, I don't know, convert from like coal mining to, like, I don't know, some green jobs that have nothing to do with coal mining. And a lot of those skills are not transferable.
Well,
I'll
I'll respond very briefly. So first of all, we had this argument in your room 3 years ago on self-driving cars, where some of us said that all cars would be self-driving within 20 years, and that meant 15 million people who make a living by driving are going to lose their jobs. Now, at the time we discussed self-driving cars, I remember most people saying, no, we'll never have self-driving cars, those jobs are never going away. Now, I will make the same argument today, and you're welcome to laugh the same way you did about self-driving cars. There are already today in California robots picking berries, picking asparagus. Every single one of these agricultural jobs, there are robots that can do it. Now, as of right now, the robots cost a little bit more than they're paying the illegals, but it is a lie to say that deporting 100% of illegals means that you'll never be able to pick this crop. I'm stating it's a lie. If 100% of the illegals are deported, they'll buy the machines. Food prices will go up a little bit, but California will do just fine with no illegals, with machines picking the crops. Now, I'm not retarded. I know everyone in the room is going to laugh at the idea of machines picking crops, so I'll post some shit.
Well, I'm not going to laugh at that. First of all, I've never even laughed at the idea that drivers would be replaced by cars. I was always aware, since this app has existed, the impending rate of automation and what impact it's likely to have for certain job sectors. There are a bunch of machines that can be used to, like, pick various kinds of vegetables and fruits. They come with a bunch of drawbacks, though. Some of the machines are not dexterous enough to pick certain kinds of crops without damaging them. They have, like, these huge shaker machines that shake the shit out of, say, orange trees, and all the oranges drop down or whatever, but then they cause, like, bruises and stuff, and so those oranges that are bruised are not, like, able to be sold in the same way as, like, oranges that aren't bruised. And so you have alternatives like, oh, okay, well, I can take the bruised oranges and I can donate them to a place that creates, like, I don't know, orange marmalades or some shit. And you can make money that way, but there's a bunch of drawbacks to the current state of the art. Presumably, they might create robots that are more advanced and dexterous, where they can, you know, whatever it is, they can pick oranges, strawberries, whatever, with enough dexterity as a human being to where you don't have a lot of, like, damaged versions of them, and you can sell them at the store or whatever and maximize your profits that way. That's in the cards. But I don't know how soon that is. Maybe it's sooner than we expect. But I don't know how soon that is with that particular industry. But with the cars, self-driving cars, I think that's probably a lot sooner than any of the stuff I just described in terms of agriculture. ultimate point wasn't really like I wasn't really trying to counter the threat of automation. It was more if you were really serious about increasing our population in such a short span of time, you would actually create a demand for more skilled labor than we already have in the status quo in order to even develop the infrastructure necessary to facilitate that many people. And that was just the infrastructural point. There's also a bunch of other things, a bunch of other reasons why skilled labor would become in high demand. Mostly it would reduce the cost of things for the end consumer, which they would really, really love. But, you know, whatever you're trying to accomplish, ironically, the way things work in the status quo, you're going to need more of the very skilled labor that you're trying to include. That's all I was trying to point out. But also, yeah, dude, tripling our country's population in 30 years is one of the craziest ideas I've ever heard. I don't think you need to do it at that fast of a scale. If you want to make the scale a little bit longer, it would be a little bit more doable. But it would take a lot of work, and it's not just infrastructural work. Like, there's a lot of babies that would need to be delivered that's been taken care of by people. So, like, I don't know, if you want to do it in a way that's not going to subject a whole bunch of children to child poverty in this country, like, I'm sure it can be done and accomplished in that way if, like, the country was, like, dedicated to that goal in a way that we were dedicated to the space race, or we were all kind of unified for the most part, you know, behind, you know, holding those responsible for 9/11 accountable, although we kind of botched that, but for a little bit, we were pretty fucking united. We did not take too kindly to those planes hitting those buildings, I'll tell you that. We were unified in our hatred, which is a unity of some sort. Let's talk about for Chad. Like, what is the Republican stance on maternity leave exactly? Because that's gonna become a big deal if you're trying to triple your country's population in 30 years. You have a lot of women that need to take off work. Like,
yeah, I know. I personally think it would be for the national interest. It's just best for our culture and our people, for mothers to be with their babies at least for the first year of their life. I think they should primarily be with their babies 100% of the time if possible. So if the government needs to step in and make that happen, I just think that children are much better for it that first year.
But what if she's working? Like I understand that she should stay home, but like, what kind of government intervention would you?
It doesn't have to be a government intervention. It can be the same thing that it is now, short-term and long-term disability, but they pay for it.
Who, the employee or the government?
The employees and the employers.
I mean, the employer. See, I don't think I like that. I don't want to put this on the backs of. I don't think that's right, because if I'm an employer and that happens, honestly, I'm just not going to hire women. I'd rather it be a government subsidy type.
It's pennies on the dollar for the employee, for an employer to cover them, and some of them do pass it through to the employee. But it's very inexpensive coverage.
Hold on. Do you mean the coverage of, like, disability, or do you mean the coverage of having someone to come in and work there in their...
The coverage of the disability for the women who are staying home with the children.
Right. Right, but what I'm saying, okay, so maybe so, right? But then if you make it at the employer, and first of all, obviously, one employer is not the same as another. Small business employees are not going to react to this the same way as big business employees, and more importantly, in this case, we would be expecting them to do two things, not just one. One of them would be the disability. The other one would be filling someone in temporarily while that's happening. I've gotta say, I can see where Holly would come from in what she's saying, in that, like, if you have an employer expected to do both of those things rather than just one of them, they might be apprehensive towards hiring women. Would you agree, or?
Theoretically, they could be. I mean, I don't know that it would be any more so than some probably already are. I was strictly speaking to the question of, but women that work, how are they supposed to go out of work for the year? Now, as far as the burden on the employers, I know in a lot of situations, at least for the companies that I've consulted with, both small and large, oftentimes when people go out on maternity leave, they don't hire fill-ins. But of course, the maternity leave is a lot shorter right now than a year.
Wait, maternity leave is not considered a disability. What's a disability?
Short-term disability is what pays most women their maternity leave while they're out on maternity leave.
Okay. What is the limits?
With most short-term, it's 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, that ain't.
And then long-term would have to kick in after that.
Right, but well, I mean, I don't know how long that even lasts if you're going to do long term, but on a short term, 6 to 8 weeks, that ain't a whole lot for someone to go from I was just pregnant, had a child, to all right, time to do whatever the hell I was doing before. Obviously, that varies, and I think that on its own has been a pretty strong discouragement for women to actually do so, to have children and to try to raise families for quite some time now. 6 to 8 weeks ain't shit, really. And not to mention, we're talking after that. What are we like? What is expected as far as dealing with an actual born baby now afterwards, and the costs and that are new, and supporting those costs. Not to mention other personal physical ailments or issues from just physical, biological, like physiological injuries, all the way up to postpartum and dealing with all of that. Like, it doesn't seem like there's any real safety net on that portion. At least not in totality. Certainly not from employers. It usually, this kind of the disparity between some women receiving that kind of care or resources versus those that don't is based on what state you're living in and how liberal they really are.
I guess the ultimate going on as well was like, you would have to have policies that were particularly accommodating of pregnant women because you're going to maximize the amount of pregnant women in your society if you're serious about a goal of tripling your population in 30 years. So, like, the status quo is not sufficiently accommodating for pregnant women. The policies as they stand would actually deter most women who are in the workforce from having children. Which is one of the reasons why, apparently, one of the contributing factors shouldn't apply to birth rate in the first place. Which is just a roundabout way of recognizing
Exactly.
what's going on. But, like,
Yeah.
so these policies would have to be different. Like, women need longer to like, give birth. Like, I don't know, man, deal with any potential complications or postpartum stuff. Or, you know what I mean?
And you know what's interesting? I bet that if we somehow looked, and this is totally my speculation, but I bet you that if you compared general birth rates in the United States to side by side with birth rates of those in, for example, the U.S. military, I'm almost certain I have very little doubt that those in the U.S. military would have much higher birth rates and the reason would be specifically because of the unilateral levels of support that you would get just from that level of employment. We're talking not just maternity leave, you also get paternity leave. You're getting so many benefits that are already routed to you, and most importantly, this is like the thing that honestly gets left out. It's not just the benefits, it's knowing the benefits and knowing how to access the benefits that is like worked for you through those kind of programs. And some employers, some fantastic employers do it, but this is few and far in between. Usually you don't even know what's even available to you, let alone have that.
Find outside of ourselves. Zen Buddhism points to several layers of wisdom in his response. First, he embodied the principle of knowing what is enough.
But by the way, I don't think really any part of the United States, like functionally, as far as social programs or just infrastructure, can support a large-scale increase in population. Like, we just don't have that. We ain't got proper road management. We certainly don't have the hospital beds for it. We ain't got a lot of shit that would run well with just small increases that are acute, that are done in an acute fashion time-wise.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think there is a lot of space for more people. You'd have to like drastically raise taxes or drastically cut spending and reallocate to pay for the stuff.
So I disagree with not there being space. That's not what I'm saying. I think there's space. I just don't think we've built the country up enough for it. I think we absolutely can build the country up for it. We're just not investing in that. Like, we can build more houses. We can absolutely build better and more sustainable infrastructure. We can definitely build railways, like we've been talking about for like fucking ever, but we just keep not doing it. To support better transit instead of having a million people in traffic all the damn time. But we're not really that country, right? We're a car driving country. This is a choice, is what I'm saying, and we've made the choice to not build more hospitals. We've made the choice to not build more care centers and avenues and schools. Even we've chosen not to invest in schools in ways that we should. Instead, our money goes to things like defense, which is fine. It's just our choice, you know. And so I'm not saying we can't, as in like it is impossible. I'm saying we can't based on what we currently have and what we currently have allocated, which we can absolutely change. And until we do,
I mean, yeah, but the majority of money we spend isn't on defense. It's on social services, Social Security, disability insurance, and Medicare. It's like $2.75 trillion every year in mandatory spending. Defense ranges anywhere between like $900 billion and like $800 billion. Debt, the interest on the debt, the second largest expense in the federal budget.
I mean, yeah, sure, but just to be clear here, like, when you are like, we could spend more on these things, and when you are thinking about like, if you think about it in a like a flat linear way, right? If you think about it as we just have this much money in a pocket, and we're either going to spend it here or we're going to spend it there, either A or B, then I think we do a disservice to how the layout of economics in this sense works out, because there isn't a whole lot of return in certain things, right? There are certain things that just do not have a whole lot of return, and sometimes that's worth spending into, like for example NASA and things like that. Not a whole lot of return, you know it, we know it, everybody knows it, but we're still willing to spend some money on it. But then there are other things that have major, massive return, like social service spending. We know that. We've looked at data from, like, for example, WIC, right, which has for a very long time been very highly successful in having been to turn money what do you invest in? What do you think is going to actually literally grow the nation better? And I think you actually literally need to do things like, for example, build more hospitals and also reinforce public health in order to support a larger population and different levels of disaster response and all of that kind of stuff. Like all of those things quite literally increase like the market cap in the United States for by far. And so that's an actual investment as well.
NASA is a very bad example.
You sound a
lot of very key commercial innovations came out of NASA research.
Yep. I wasn't dissing NASA when I said that. I said we should invest in NASA. I just said that most of the time there's no like that money's not gonna have like a direct return for the most part. It's you're hoping something comes out of it, but you're not expecting like world-changing stuff immediately off of NASA. That's like long term investment rather than what can this return for us right now.
Yeah, I think you're incorrect about that. I mean, like NASA hasn't existed. NASA's existed for like 2 generations, and the number of things that have come out of NASA that are commercialized today, it's like a 1 generation return. Like it's not that short term. And in fact, you see like just in companies that are just focused on space endeavors, like a lot of private money flows into that, and that's not even counting the spin-off investments or spin-off innovations that have come out that are unexpected. Thank you for allowing to do my defense of NASA today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally fine if there's a legitimate defense. I'm actually, again, not attacking NASA, obviously. It's besides the point. It was just really an example of how sometimes there are things that you don't expect returns on, but you're still willing to invest in because you see a value in it. That's really the point, right? And in the case of social services, that's not even like a ooh, gee whiz, maybe one day this might turn out to be something. This has legit material economic benefit in the short and in the long term that we know has been tried and true for a long time. It literally also just reduces the costs of things around you, like just automatic. That's why it's kind of weird when, like, to me it's a little bit weird when people want to advocate for the protection and of the family unit and the growth of the population, but not through the reinforcement of social services, which directly lead to both of those.
Well, you're discounting the belief that people have that social services destroy the family unit. You know, it's the. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying people often make that argument.
No, I know. I know the reasons they're willing to give. I'm just saying I don't understand how that makes sense to them. Like I need them to like walk me through it while they walk themselves through it, because it sometimes feels like they're not walking themselves through it, because it obviously doesn't. Although, to be fair, in some cases I can understand where there are like some outlying like secondary or tertiary effect that somebody can point at and be like, alright, this fucks up the family or that fucks up the family. I can understand it. There's some silver lining stuff in there. But in totality, just to throw out the baby out with the bathwater is crazy. Like I'm still waiting for people to explain the issue with, like, for example, policy-wise, if we're talking about that, the issues with the child tax credit, like why that would be a problem, why somebody would vote against.
just that's exactly what I said. Then he one of his staffers, one of those them kids that's doing those congressional fellowships, because you know they be doing all the research and shit.
You can hear them doubling down, like one of the staffers doubled down, and then Trump agreed, and Powell still was like, nah, man. He doubled down, so whoever did that shit, man, what a fiasco. And the freaking aide doubled down on the lie, attempted in real time. Crazy.
Hey, you guys, Trump is used to paying people to tell him what he wants to hear. And that's why he hired an administration who will do what he says do. But he messed up with Powell.
And he gonna keep messing up with Powell. I don't know why he trying to go there with this man. Leave this man alone. This man ain't about this. This ignorant shit. It's like, leave Powell alone. He's doing a great job. Is he doing a great job, you guys, or no?
Oh, yeah.
Why are you messing with him? Yeah. So, okay. I'm trying to get you guys to ping in your friends. Please ping everybody in. It's 420. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm still pinging too, but I ran into the red bar pinging, so I have to wait for a few minutes to ping everybody else in. But this is Gemini's title. MAGA dropping like flies. Gemini, you got something to associate this title with?
MAGA dropping like flies, brother.
That was scary. I'm just laughing my ass off right now, brother. Okay, so I got a clip now. We've been waiting for this. I was trying to wait till we got more people in. We got like 50-something people in here. I'd rather have everybody in here so we have to redoing it. But Gasoline, whatever her name is, they went to the federal penitentiary today, and they interviewed her. God, that was quick. They are not playing. I thought it was going to be like maybe next week Tuesday is what I thought it was going to be, but I got a clip of that, and I know it's actually coming off of the TV, but Jeffrey Epstein compliant. No, I'm not. Did I just say compliant? Jeffrey Epstein accomplice. Gasoline Maxwell. Go ahead, whoever's talking.
No, what are they hoping to achieve?
We don't know. And if you know, tell me. But I'm telling you, she had a very productive meeting today with AG. Now, what does that mean? She had a very productive meeting. So, okay, so it says, I'm just going to do a little bit of article and then I'm going to play the clip. She met today, Todd Blanche, we know who he is, Trump's ex-attorney, met with Gasoline in Florida today, just one day after a congressional committee voted to subpoena her to provide additional testimony surrounding his years of sex crimes. And not even talking about Trump, like he ain't got nothing to do with this. So why are they, okay, so they voted to subpoena her to provide additional testimony about his years of sex crime. Now, I guess you're going to leave Trump out of it? Speaking to reporters outside the federal courthouse in Tallahassee today, Maxwell's attorney, David Oscar Marcus, said his client and Trump's ex-attorney had a very productive day. She answered every single question. She never stopped. She never invoked a privilege. She never declined to answer. She answered all the questions truthfully, honestly, okay, to her ability. Let me play this clip, and then we'll go from there. I just want to know why they're dropping like flies. Okay, hold on. Play, go.
Thank you so much. Welcome to The Beat. I'm Antonia Hilton, in for Ari Melber tonight. We begin with the political crisis rocking Donald Trump. Overnight, new video surfacing showing Epstein being grilled about Trump in a deposition. Also today, the Speaker of the House directly contradicting Trump, saying this is not a hoax. And Trump's former defense attorney spent the day in a Florida prison talking to convicted Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell. It's a pivot point in the Trump presidency. As Politico puts it today, the Epstein bombshell explodes, adding the crisis is here. Today, the number 2 of the DOJ, Todd Blanche, is meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell in a federal courthouse in Tallahassee, Florida. But the meeting may be planting the seeds for more backlash. Maxwell's attorney spoke to the press afterwards.
We had a very productive day today with the Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and Ghislaine Maxwell. He took a full day and asked a lot of questions, and Ms. Maxwell answered every single question. She never stopped, she never invoked a privilege, she never declined to answer. She answered all the questions truthfully, honestly, and to the best of her ability.
And Maxwell's own brother is now saying she's preparing new evidence. Epstein victims warned Maxwell, a convicted perjurer as well as a child sex trafficker, can't be trusted. Amid the clamor for more transparency, newly surfaced deposition video from 2010 shows an attorney for an Epstein victim asking Epstein about Trump.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump? Have you socialized with him? Yes. Yes. Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
You would like to answer that question, at least today? I mean, it has to be served by 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment back, sir.
What you saw there, it is all new context around the Wall Street Journal's bombshell reporting that Attorney General Pam Bondi told Trump in May his name was in the Epstein files, among many others, which is prompting new questions about who knew what and when. Former federal prosecutor Ankush Kaduri saying, quote, right now everyone should be asking whether the highest levels of the federal government, including but not limited to the president, the vice president, the AG, the FBI director, and possibly even some Republican leaders in Congress, depending on what they knew and when, have been misleading the American public for weeks, if not months. With all this, GOP Speaker Mike Johnson today undermining Trump's claims that the Epstein uproar is all just some sort of hoax. Listen to Trump and then Johnson contradicting him.
It's all been a big hoax that's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net, and so they try and do the Democrats' work.
They want full transparency. They want everybody who was involved in any way with the Epstein evils, let's call it what it was, to be brought to justice as quickly as possible. And look, I think the press, this is not a hoax, in other words. It's not a hoax, of course not.
Ahead tonight, I'll talk to a House Democrat who just scored a major win against MAGA enablers in Congress, leading the charge to subpoena the Epstein files. Also coming up, an acclaimed journalist who's been tracking Epstein for years on what Trump knows. But we start with our guests here tonight. We have Joyce and Van.
Okay, there you go. So they interviewed her. They said she was talking, but I don't know what she was talking about. And like I said before, and I'm glad I'm vindicated. I am a female Trent here. She's given her brother new evidence. She's writing in this journal, and she's giving the pages of the journal to her brother. So, what do you guys think about this?
So in the clip that we heard, the one where that was a deposition from the 2000s with Epstein, and the fact that in that deposition, when asked if he was in the presence with Mr. Trump with underage girls, and we talked about this earlier, there was only one answer to that. That was just no. Instead, he chose to invoke 3 amendments. Right? Not one, not the 5th Amendment. He came with some new fucking.
The 14th, the 13th, and the 12th.
And the 12, right? So that tells us that. And other portions of the recording that we heard, I've heard them before. But this interview today, my thing, the way I'm seeing it, is that productive means that they are encouraging her to give testimony solely around Mr. Epstein and without mentioning Trump's name. So that question that we can't trust any question by this guy. Like they're not talking about Trump. They're not asking about any collusion with Trump. I can assure you that. So her thing, wink, wink, is to throw Mr. Epstein, who's no longer here, under the bus even more. And so that is the strategy here. But we know the playbook.
I'm a add with what Robert said. She is not going to go for free. Let's be clear. She's not going for free. They can't exchange money. Money is not the issue. She wants a pardon. She wants something in return. They're going to deport her ass back to Europe because she's not a U.S. citizen. Let's be clear, because after her 21 years, she was going to get deported back any goddamn way because she is convicted of sex crimes. So I want y'all to understand what the frigging play is. The play is for her to then turn around, say some shit like, oh, Trump was never involved in anything. They were just casual friends, da-da-da-da-da. She gonna say some bullshit. And watch what I say. She's not doing this for free, y'all. Nobody will just go to an attorney or allow an attorney to talk to them who is not representing them. She's already exhausted her appeals. Let's be clear. She doesn't have anything else left but the card to play to get a pardon so she can get the hell out of jail, and get her ass back to Europe and do the same bullshit she was doing in Europe. Let's be clear. She is British born and she was raised in Switzerland or some shit like that. Her father was a big magnet. He had a lot of money. He lost a lot of money. There was a lot of shit that went down with that situation. But I'm telling y'all, she is going for a pardon. And to have the attorney of Trump, which I want y'all to understand is a conflict of goddamn interest, come in when you know his name is all over a fucking file, right? And the DOJ knows this, but you would have his personal attorney question her. There's no tape, and the tape sound that I'm hearing sounds like shit. But the Epstein tape has clearly negates every fucking thing she's gonna say anyway, because when he said because Trump around him with any underage girls, and he said, I'm going for the 5th, the 14th, the 16th, and the 18th Amendment, honey, guilty as charged. I'm going on mute. Thank you.
She is a U.S. citizen. I don't know why y'all think she is that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
She's a U.S. citizen. She has U.S. citizenship, I think British and French. So like she is a U.S. citizen. I don't know why. I don't think she is that, but she is.
And how does I don't understand this. I mean, I'm just thinking about how does this even with the plays that y'all talking about, how does this help him? This doesn't help him. Even if she lies, it doesn't help him. Because she's already a convicted sex crimes convict herself. So she cannot help him in any way. It is a fool's errand to put her anywhere, and to exonerate her only makes him look more guilty. They already are suspicious of him. The only thing that's going, when I say them, I'm talking about his base of people. He's already been implicated as being a part of it. She, by her word, can't exonerate him. It doesn't help him. No matter what we think intrigue or how Tom Clancy this appears to be, it can't help him. Because if they're stupid enough, and we do know that they're stupid enough, if they're stupid enough to say, oh, well, this convicted sex crimes person said that he's not in it, well, we'll just believe her. She can't exonerate him. And him pardoning her makes him look even worse.
Yeah, and I don't think she's gonna give any new information because she does have appeals. She lost the one about the Epstein prosecution trying to tie that to her case. She lost it in the Second Circuit, but she could appeal it to the Supreme Court. And then she has that case in the Virgin Islands too that's pending. So I don't know that she's gonna do anything that will put her in jeopardy. And we don't know what this meeting was. The reporter, when the report first came out, they said that they didn't even meet for that long a period of a time. And there's no recording, we don't know. They could tell us anything happened in that meeting. It doesn't mean that it's true.
I agree with you, Dr. A.J. I just got a question for you. Has she already exhausted her habeas corpus? Because that's what I was going to ask.
Well, from what I understand, I think not, from what I understand.
Okay, all right. And her citizenship can be revoked because she's naturalized.
No,
And she's not her primary. It's not. She wasn't.
Not for this crime. It can't. No, it can't. So if she was a terrorist, she did some kind of war crime, or she lied on her application. Something like this is not going to be revoked.
I understand what y'all saying. Like, you know, we think the ridiculous has happened, and he's been able to what we perceive to be get away with the absolute ridiculous, if not just trying to get away with, or seemingly like he's getting away with things that aren't normal. But there are, I mean, believe it or not, there are still there are institutions that are holding. Like, he's having a tough time doing something. It's on TV. He's able to announce it. It sounds very. Very ridiculous. It sounds like he may be accomplishing some things. He's really having trouble, even with the deportations. He's having problems with those things. It's just red meat for the base. People are being detained, but they're not being deported.
I agree with you, Quinn, that there are some. It's a lot more of horse and pony than anything else, right? A lot of it looks very shiny. There's this shiny object, and people are going to it. So I agree with that part. But he doesn't have a stopgap. Stephen Miller doesn't have a stopgap. All these people that are advising him don't have a stopgap. They're willing to just throw shit and figure out what friggin' sticks.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying they're not accomplishing the stuff.
The real problem is that he needs those votes. And there are some people in the House of Representatives that are not going to support him around this Epstein thing. And that's going to cause a real fracture. And so he's trying to heal it up so that he does not lose his congressional support, because he needs those people to get his shit passed.
You don't think it's already fractured though, Dr. Agee? Because I see some cracks.
I think these lies and these tricks are his attempt to assuage some of that, to appease them a little bit for as long as he can to get his stuff done. I think that's what I think this is all about. That woman, Ghislaine, she don't have nothing to offer, because if she did, she would have offered it on herself.
I agree.
Get herself out of trouble.
100% agree, but
she was trying to make all kinds of deals to try to get herself out of trouble, and none of that shit worked.
Well, because she was trying to make, because I was understanding she was waiting on Trump to see if he would just straight up pardon her because of all the dirt that she had on him.
She was doing all kinds of stuff. She offered them, when she was trying to get bail, she was like, I got all these citizenships, I'll give that up if you give me bail.
And she tried to renounce her citizenship at one point to go back to Europe.
And she was going to renounce her UK and French.
Yeah, she was trying to give up her
not the US. Okay, no. I got you. Okay.
She was going to give up UK and French citizenship. Yeah. She was trying to work all kind of machinations, and none of that worked. So if she had anything, she would have given it.
You don't have shit.
So, but isn't her team trying to, fuck, let me look this up before I say something. Hold on, give me a second.
Okay, let me jump in quickly. Because the thing that the MAGA base wants is to release the files, right? And they've wanted that since forever, and they were because there's this whole QAnon thing, and it's like Trump, yeah, he's exactly the guy to take these people down because he's been so close to them. But now that he's not releasing the files, and people are saying, oh, it's because he's in them and blah, 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 it's kind of breaking the whole image of Trump as, like, the guy that's going to bring down the elites. So how do they get out of this, how do they get out of this trap? Like, they're talking to Ghislaine, and they're doing this, and they're doing this, but what is the thing that they can throw the MAGA base to get them to see him that way again, or is it gone?
I don't know, but I'm gonna tell you like this: whatever he's doing, it seems like they're throwing a bunch of shit against the wall to see what sticks. But you can tell what they actually think of this base of people by the things that they're offering. Like, I mean, they're the ones that are bringing the pressure to their Congress people, and their Congress people are introducing that in Congress. So, I mean, it's not,
Right.
and obviously, but that's what I'm saying, that he's got to give them something, because the story's not going to go away.
To figure out this is
But
why he's doing all these stall tactics. The grand jury thing was on tactic. This Ghislaine Maxwell thing is a stall tactic. Like, even at straws to get them something.
Okay, I found what I
All
was
of this chicanery is about. Because there's some of those people that are not gonna relent.
That's exactly it. Yep.
So I did find this. So this is what it was. So I know her. Oh yeah. So her family has stated an intention to file habeas corpus, citing evidence of alleged misconduct. So I do know that they petition to the U.S. Supreme Court.
I thought they
Not
did.
yet.
That's why I was asking if
Not
they haven't
yet.
done it yet. So they were setting it up for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless they did it recently, they haven't done it yet.
They did it recently. So this was the family's response. Like, they got evidence. They got stuff that they want to reveal. So I don't know if it got denied or.
Wait. Read that, because she just had an appeal denied.
Right, but she did do the petition.
In the Fed court.
She did do for habeas corpus, right? That was her first one.
No, she hasn't done the habeas corpus.
Okay.
So they're threatening to do one with hold on.
Yeah,
was this her first appeal, Patty?
Hold on.
What's the case? What's her argument? And
That's what I'm looking at right
now. That's the one they just.
Hold on, Ghislaine. Hold on. But I know she did a petition, and that's why her family came out. I'm not sure if it. Yep. So Ghislaine Maxwell has petitioned the U.S. Supreme Court for a writ seeking review of her conviction and sentence related to charges of.
Oh yeah.
So that's the habeas corpus.
That's the appeal.
No, that's not the habeas corpus.
Hold on. That's the appeal that she just lost in federal court, where she was trying to say that her conviction should be overturned due to the federal government being unable to prosecute Jeffrey Epstein.
And then her family came out. Came out, and they were like, they pretty much said that that they are intending to file a habeas corpus.
Right.
In this SD, New York. So I remember they were saying they were going to do it, and it's been recently. It was like within the last week or two.
Yeah, because she just lost her appeal.
Yep.
The appeal decision just came down. If not Monday, then last Friday.
No.
Yeah.
So they said the Justice Department filed its opposition July 14th, 2025. So
that was only a week or two ago. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So they actually they filed an opposition on July 14th, and then that's when her family came out and said, "We got evidence."
Evidence of what, though, Patty?
They're gonna have to take it to the appeals court. Like, they can't just go to what is going on?
What is the evidence they have, though? I guess is the question, because they're family members. What evidence would they have as far as this piece is concerned?
That other people should have been prosecuted. I don't know.
But that doesn't get
have to be
out
some
of
kind
jail.
of technical.
That doesn't get her out of jail.
Exactly.
And her case,
that's what I thought.
Her case was specific to 4 witnesses. Like, her case was specific. She had specific counts related to 4 people. It doesn't. I don't mean this in a callous way. It doesn't matter that Jeffrey Epstein molested 1,000 people. Her case is about these 4 people. So unless she has evidence that's going to undermine the evidence presented by these 4 people, I don't know what her family talking about.
Yeah, she's trying to
Yeah,
get
and it was more than just testimony. But it was more than just. There was more than just testimony with these 4 people, because there were flight logs, and it was a lot of evidence that was presented in the grand jury. Am I wrong?
Nope.
Right, in the trial, but in her trial too. So if they don't have anything, but I was emphasizing the 4 people because
They were the ones recruited, and that was her trial.
and they had direct contact with her. So her
because she
case
was
is
in their
specific
book.
to her.
She recruited them directly. Yes. Correct?
So she I don't know what they talking about.
She had nothing that can exonerate her. Like, she's been fully tried. The evidence is overwhelming against her. I don't know she's going through the motions because she has a legal right to. But in terms of the evidence, like, it's overwhelming against her. Like, it's a fool's errand. The only thing she can do, the only hope she really has, is a pardon. And if she's willing to lie to do that, it still doesn't serve the person that she's trying to exonerate.
But she can also embarrass Trump just having that conversation.
She could.
You know what I'm saying? Regardless of what is going to get her out, I can tell you, her saying that his ass was fucking little girls is just enough for people to be up in arms.
Yeah.
100%.
But here's the thing. There's 2 things that can happen. Either the people are going to believe her. It can work against you, it can work for her. Either the people that she's telling the story to can say, oh, she's a liar, she's a convicted liar, she's a sex trafficker, she's doing what she can to get out. Him getting her out makes him look complicit, makes him look like he's in cahoots with her.
But do you think the base really cares about that?
Yes, they do.
Hey, Queen, they're going to plausible deny
y'all ain't got too much faith in them.
Queen. They want enough to be able to say, you know what? See, we tried. He was innocent. That's it.
That's not gonna work.
Speaking, hear me out. Her actually speaking right now is saying, yes, he was dealing with little kids. He was with little girls, X, Y, and Z. He needs that kind of damage control. He needs to control that. It's not that she exonerates him. It's that she can be deadly if she's not with him, bro.
But I don't think it's enough. It is not enough.
It's not enough.
There's something I don't
It's a step in the wrong direction if she does that.
Hold on for a second. It's not enough, Gemini, because they were giving him, the people was giving him all kind of backlash on that grand jury transcript bullshit. Like, there is a core among his base that are not going to settle for anything other than those documents being released and it being made public.
That's what y'all missed.
Hold on. I wasn't saying that. I think you mistook what I was saying.
But it's not going to work.
I wasn't saying it was enough.
Some of the people in the House are saying, no, dude, like, you need to give us this information. And they're skirting around Mike Johnson, and Mike Johnson's doing his best to try to derail, persuade. Yep. He's doing his best. But some of those congressmen
are not going to let it go.
They're not falling for it.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's going to be enough. This is what I was saying, right? 1 second, I'm going to be real brief. I'm not saying it's enough. I'm saying it's a step, right? Everything he's doing is in phases. There's no like, okay, now said and done, black and white, pregnant, not pregnant. That's not happening here, right? So he's trying to work towards his innocence in phases, which we all know he's not innocent. And he's trying to use plausible deniability in phases. Like, okay, you see that cleared me. You see that cleared me. And hopefully, although I agree with you, there's going to be people that still push for this. He's trying to distance himself from it. And even when somebody brings it up, you're like, oh, why are you even talking about this Epstein shit, that old shit? Like, he's trying to do whatever he can to distance himself. So whether it's enough or not to have her on his side, I think in his mind and possibly in reality could be smart.
Okay, but here's where I'm gonna push back a little bit.
On his side does not help him.
Yeah, but let me say this. I get what you guys are saying as far as the optics, right? Because he don't really give a fuck about optics. Let's be clear. His optics.
He cares about this.
Oh, he cares about optics.
Okay, yeah. When I say optics, I'm talking about he doesn't care about optics as far as throwing shit to the wall. Because here's the thing, he had the DOJ literally go to the Florida courts and ask for them to open up the grand jury and to show that, because he wanted to expose the fucking victims. He's willing to do any shit. And here's the thing, that grand jury has evidence that could prove a lot of shit. It won't prove Trump, but it will prove the Epstein, and it will prove Giselle's part in it. So his intent is not a good thing, because he's trying to open up that case. The judge literally just denied them being able to open up the grand jury files. So it's weird to me. It's like, to me, again, you're just throwing shit and figuring out whatever is going to fucking stick. And yes, I do believe that there's some of the base, no matter what, they're going to want those files, period, point blank, full stop. But there are some of them that if you just give them a bone, they don't give a fuck. You have people like, and I'm just saying this, Cat Turd, who's on fucking X, who every time you throw this motherfucker a bone, he said, yeah, you see? And he has a following of 2.3 million people that are part of that fucking MAGA base, that if he says boo, they jump to boo. That's all I'm saying.
That may be with a few different things, Rez, but this thing is dear to them. I think that's what you all are missing. Like, this is serious to them. Like, these motherfuckers were willing to go to a pizza shop and kick in because they really seriously thought that there's somebody who's running an underground celebrity ring, raping children in a basement of a pizza parlor. Like, they are delusional, but that works both ways. Their delusion also is going to make them not believe what he says until he can exonerate himself. I know other issues.
Check this out. So y'all don't think Pam Bondi had did this shit on purpose when she tried to do request? Because the thing is, right? So you know what the request was? Public interest. They're not gonna release. They're not going to release a goddamn a grand jury. They're not going to release it for public interest. Like, it doesn't meet the threshold. Like, I don't know if they did this on purpose. She's not stupid. She's, and I think she's very qualified for her job. She's just a fucking clown right now. But she's not dumb. Like, why would you fucking request it for public interest? They know it's going to get denied.
Here's what I don't understand.
Smoke and mirrors, right? Here's what the point. You throw something and see what's there.
Why don't they just, this is what I don't get. Maybe I'm missing something. Why don't they just release the files or part of the files, and whenever it says Donald Trump, just redact it? Because of course everything they've released has had redaction. So redacted for national security, blah, blah, blah. Why don't they just redact the Donald Trump bits and just release it?
But you can't claim national security for something it's not a national security issue.
Or whatever, but why don't they do that?
But right, but what are you redacting it for? Redaction is for a reason. You can't redact something.
For national security purposes.
Right, you can't redact.
You actually can, though, in this case, because if there's someone who's named in it, but isn't necessarily someone who's done anything wrong, they redact it all the time. So, like, a good example would be, let's say there was, like, the person who drove in from the airport to, like, the Epstein mansion or something. And he didn't actually know what was going on, or the prosecutors decided that there wasn't enough on this person to actually prosecute them. They will redact a name like that. And they do this all the time. Like, even in the, remember the Michael Cohen case? They redacted Donald Trump's name.
Yes, I remember that.
Perjury trial. Yeah. And then they called him, like, individual one. And it was obvious who it was, or president one, or some shit like that. But that was obvious who it was. But they actually. Okay, but hold on a second. Oh my God. So what I'm saying is that you can hide it. Now, it's a lot easier to hide it when it isn't about him being president, and no one is claiming the Epstein period. Like the friendship that Trump had with Epstein during his presidency. So it'll be individuals 1 through like 10,000. And you're not going to know who anyone is.
Right, but wasn't that a campaign?
Yeah, there's release files too. It still got to go through the judicial. So, like, the court has not approved the files to be released. Like, they're playing on fucking words.
But wasn't that? But the issue with Michael Cohen and Stormy Daniels was an issue of campaign finance, right? Which had to do with which involved possibly the at that point the current president of the United States.
Which he now has 34 felonies for. Okay. For the same conversation, the Stormy Daniels is agreed that he has 34 felonies.
Well, but,
let's be clear.
Right, but I'm saying, but in so much is this is not a national security issue.
100%.
Like exactly. They'd have to find reasons to redact people if they were innocent, but it would still allude to who was involved, and you may not know their names, but that the whole point of this is to take the suspicion away from him. Opening that up only gives more suspicion, even if you don't know who the names are, because it doesn't satisfy the curiosity. Okay. Like people want to see something that they want to see something that exonerates him or says officially that he is not a part of that. Otherwise, this noise stays around, at least for a good time, and it will have fallout during election time.
I just don't see what the hell could exonerate him at this point, Quinn, to be honest with you.
I have no idea. I won't even be. I won't think I'm smart enough to say that. I have no idea.
Just saying, I don't know what would exonerate him at this point, because every time you turn around, there's a leak. And somebody is leaking information. Every time you turn around, there's a video. All this shit that should have been shown during the presidential run for the election, all this shit is now surfacing. All these never seen before, the damn deposition with frigging Epstein. That was a never seen before. It just came out 2 days ago. Every 2 days, it's a slow frigging leak that keeps coming out.
Well, and then the story is not straight, which gives it more fuel. I mean, because at this point, Pam Bondi says it's on her desk now. They come back, and then they said, well, there is no file. So that starts to create suspicion, even for dumb people. That starts to create suspicion. They ain't that stupid. They're dumb, but they ain't that dumb. So that starts to create suspicion. It looks like you're lying. He's involved in it. They're trying to protect it and kick the can down the road so that either people forget or that the interest in it goes away. But it doesn't look like either of those things are happening at this point. He's taking a really big risk. But in his defense, he may have to, because he is definitely involved. It definitely alludes to him doing something during that time. He's very reckless in his personal life. He knows that he had no reason not to be. He's a megalomaniac. And he's a terminal narcissist. He never thinks that there's going to be any consequences. So that makes you sloppy. So he did something that he can't account for now. And he's trying to protect it. And there are people trying to help him protect it.
But he's sloppy. He's sloppy in his business. He's sloppy in his personal life. He's sloppy in his professional life. Like, there's nothing about him that's ever been able to, if you're going to be shysty, you're a good shyster. He's not a good shyster. Let's be real clear.
Yeah, so I mean, at the bottom line is he's involved in some way. To what degree we don't know, but I mean, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to escape those consequences. If someone is persistent about it, and if his people aren't persistent about it, there will be other calls to keep the issue going.
I agree, but what's going to really hurt him right now is the midterms. Because now there is so much fucking ammunition that he's going to lose the House at a minimum. He might lose the Senate, I don't know, but he's trying to gerrymander the shit out of Texas to add more fucking seats. I mean, he's a fucking criminal, let's be clear. It's insane.
But it's not just him, and you know this, so I'm not telling you that you don't know this. I mean, it's not just him. There are people who have interest aligned with him, and he's the face of it, but there are people who are trying to help him do that. But those are the people that go unnamed, right? The Curtis Yarvins of the world, the Stephen Millers who can avoid it. Steve Bannon's.
Bannon's still involved. Let's be real clear. I like a lot of people think he just sitting in the background. Bannon still got bullshit going on, and he's still keeping up shit. What's his name? Alex Jones. All these motherfuckers are still involved in all this shit.
Oh, he doesn't have anybody. I don't know if I put Alex Jones in that camp, but I mean, I agree with Steve Bannon. I agree with Stephen Miller.
They just, at this point, they are trying to push this through. They know they only have 3 years to get it accomplished, and really not that much time. So, and they really only have a little over a year because they're probably going to suffer some hits in Congress, which are going to push them to the point now where now the power shift is goes in a different direction.
It looks very plausible, but the Democrats got to get their shit together too. Let's be clear.
Well, I mean, I don't know. There's nothing that's indicated that they're not. So, I mean, I know we say that a lot, but I know that's been the popular thing to say. But it just may very well be that they're biding time at this point. I mean, the Republicans are doing enough to raise enough shit where they can actually just have a slew of things to talk about.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And what can they do legislatively at this point? They can't do anything but sit and talk and fucking filibuster like Corey. Excuse me, yeah, that's all they can do is sit there and talk shit like Hakeem Jeffries, or do dumb shit like adhere to the shit they're doing like Chuck Schumer. So I mean, but they're doing what they can do. But I mean, it's you got people like Jasmine Crockett who talk and keep the shit before them. That's why they give her the support that they do, because she's willing to do that. But he has something to hide. That's what it is. We know that. We're very clear on that, and they know it too. That's why I'm saying I was telling Gemini, they're not letting that go. They're not gonna let it go, because it'd be like wearing a scarlet letter on his chest the whole time.
Yeah, I saw this rally in Florida today. Well, it was a town hall, and DeSantis was speaking, and a guy was really angry. We interrupted him, made a scene. I put in the chat earlier, like the little Instagram video, but that was like, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes ago. But people are really angry. Like, Trump did these rallies. I mean, he's been doing rallies for over a decade, right? And he's spoken about this, about getting pedophiles and maybe turning these people out with the whole Pizzagate thing and the deep state. And he's been talking about this and feeding the fuel for so long now. And so people are really angry about this. Now, will those people vote at all, right? Or will they disengage? Will they vote the other way? But that's the thing. I don't like let's just sit back and let this play out. I don't really like that. I do think we have to have a message and have a united message and be out there and keep practicing, rinse and repeat to sharpen ourselves and what we're doing. I don't know, that's just...
So what I'm getting from what you guys are saying is that gasoline, I don't get it. Gasoline has nothing of benefit. I'm just trying to figure out, because they subpoenaed her. First she offered, and there was nothing said, and now they subpoenaed her. So I'm trying to figure out where you guys are coming from, because I know she's trying to get herself out of prison. So I'm just trying to figure out why would they be so interested so quickly to rev this up and go see her. I think she has a lot to offer. I think she should give up Trump, or say she will give up Trump if they don't let her out, because Trump's not going to be out of office for 3 years.
So how does that help him?
For 3 years. How's it helping who?
How does that help Trump?
No, I don't think she's really trying to help Trump. I think she's trying to get herself, like, maybe use this as a
bargaining chip
herself. Yeah, why are we always gonna be helping that Negro? I think she's gonna say, either you guys figure this shit out and because that would work better than anything else, because everybody knows Trump was there. Either you guys figure this shit out, because one way or the other, she gonna have to get out. That's the whole goal of it. She wouldn't be doing this. So she is going to get out, and there's only one or two options. Either she lies, or she says, You guys figure out a way to get me out of here, or I'm giving up Trump. Now, which you guys?
But either way, he loses. I mean, so think about what you're saying. You're not thinking about it from the other side. So if I offer her a pardon, I look like I'm collaborating with her, like I'm on her side. Exonerate someone who has been convicted of sex crimes. So, but if she turns around from the other side, from the other side of it, what you're saying, if she says, "Listen, I'll threaten you, and if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to tell the story," and then what I can do is say, "Well, listen, you're a convicted sex crimes convict. All I have to do is say you're lying, and you're only lying just so that you can get. You're threatening so that you can get out. We don't believe you. You're not believable. You participated in this, and you've been convicted of such. You've been convicted along with him.
So
your credibility is nothing."
Yeah, but there's still going to be a big group of people. There's still going to be a group of people that there's still a group of people that's going to depend on her. She's kept quiet. She hasn't said anything, and people want to know. There's going to be a group of people that's going to believe her.
There may be. There's not maybe. There's going to be a group of people. But does that get her what does that get her?
It definitely gets her what she wants, because number one, he's not gonna release the files, because obviously his name is in it. Well, it's not like he can just release it.
Right.
The court's gonna have to say, yeah, we'll unseal him. But he's not, there's a reason why they said public interest, right? So if you're gonna request for anything when it comes to sealed information, public interest is not gonna get it released, period. And if they do release it and his name is all over it, like, she is the only other person that actually knows what was going down in Mar-a-Lago, who all he may have been messing around with these young ladies with. And for him, it may be like, hey, just say that I was not that guy. Like, I didn't do this. And we'll look into pardoning you. Like, I don't know.
And I think even if he pardons her, and even if she comes and says, though, if she's completely cooperative and says he did none of those things, he wasn't there, or he was there and he didn't participate, he didn't know these things were happening, even if she does that, I still don't think that gets him what he wants. Because his base is still skeptical.
Because his base is skeptical, but one thing about his base, right? Why are you fucking skeptical now? So all this shit has already came out. Those young ladies have already been on Netflix documentaries. They've already said, hey, this is what it is. This is what it went down in Mar-a-Lago. I've been recruited from Mar-a-Lago. Like, these things have already been out. Why all of a sudden you guys are up in arms? This is not something that...
Because Elon said that he was. That's why.
No, but I don't even think it's Elon. It's because I think it's just media, social media. It's just, like, but one thing about his base is gonna forget. So, like, right now, her saying something will at least move some of the crowd, maybe not all, but eventually most of the crowd is going to move over. They don't give a fuck about kids.
No, they don't.
Can I just suggest that you're on to something, and that is the soft spot, which to me is Mike Johnson. And I think it would be useful for a bunch of us Americans to go to his district in Louisiana with signs that says Mike Johnson supports pedophilia. And just be that overt about it, because Mike Johnson had the chance to do the petition, and he didn't. And I really think talking about Trump is kind of, or even Maxwell. I don't care what she does. I don't believe a word she says, and I think the gentleman is correct that it doesn't buy anything. But I really think the soft spot is Mike Johnson.
So I have a question to ask you, Alan. Are you a Trump supporter or not?
Hell no.
Okay, so you're not gonna buy it. You're not gonna buy it.
Oh no.
It's his base, right? So we see this play over and over again.
Right.
If MAGA was really concerned, why the concern now? This is not new information.
Right, and this is the point I'm trying to make. Either we care about pedophilia or we don't. I mean, clearly we don't care about a convicted felon. we don't care about lying. Clearly, we don't care about, the insurrection. But maybe the bottom is having sex with 12-year-olds. I mean, I don't mean to be so graphic about it, but I think Mike Johnson putting himself out as some kind of a Christian saint and supporting pedophilia is a soft spot. And I think the whole thing could break if enough pressure is brought to bear in Mike Johnson's district on Mike Johnson, those he goes to church with, those who he has family with. I mean, I'm sorry to be so vicious about it, but I don't know any other way to do it. Suppose you're one of his kids and you see signs that says Mike Johnson supports pedophilia.
Well, yeah, I mean, you'd have to do that. Yeah, I think that would be a good move. Not only Mike Johnson, anybody that's a Republican that decides that they want to go home early.
Yeah, that didn't really look good on their mind too. Let's try to shut down the conversation of it.
Well, I'd be willing to get arrested in his district to hold a sign that says Mike Johnson supports pedophilia, but I wanted to know if you guys think I'm crazy. I mean,
No.
Okay.
All the news should have come to your house. Come to the house. But make sure you hit a couple more people than just you.
Well, that's it. And that's it. I'm in California, but I'd be willing to pay to play there and everything. I can't do it alone. That's the point that I'm trying to make. You're absolutely right. I would want a small group of people to do it.
That's a great idea, Alan.
Thank you. If you know anybody who wants to join, anybody who wants to do it, I'm all for it because I need it.
Where in California are you?
I'm in Tustin.
Oh, okay. Then we're both in Southern California. I'll send you that.
Oh, good. Please do. And I travel with a guide dog, so I mean, for me to do this completely alone would be a little bit over what I'm capable. I'm capable of doing quite a bit, but I need at least one other person.
Brother Alvin, I wouldn't suggest you do that. I think that social media is as powerful a tool as being right in front of him. I think if that started to circulate through social media, I think it would be as damaging.
Public road. They don't have to do it on his private property.
I agree.
Like how they just need to look at what the local policies are. Like you can't be on a public road with a sign.
I don't know why you can't be on a public road with a sign. She's thinking exactly the way I'm thinking. I mean, I want to walk up and down the public road with a sign, and I really don't care. If I were to get arrested, so what? What is freedom of speech? It's public road.
Hi, this is Steve. I know Tustin area, that's the Orange County. So you know on some of those bridges, people have those signs anyways that they're protesting a variety of different things. So it's not uncommon that they do it over freeway bridges.
Yeah, but my point is we need to do it specifically in his district in Louisiana. That's the point I'm trying to get to. Doing it in Southern California isn't important, but doing it in his district and making a stink in his district, I think is the thing to do, because you guys are all right that any other Republican who goes home is a problem. But Mike Johnson specifically had the power to get this done, and he didn't. And he's holding out this bless your heart and all this kind of horse shit that he's some kind of a saint. And I just think calling him on that directly in his home territory could move the needle. It's the weak spot in the whole thing.
Can I get in on this? When you all were talking about the whole thing with his base, and his base is not going to be moved by this, you don't need his base so hardcore sycophants or fanatics. You don't need them. You're not going to get them. A lot of people in this election, be it because they didn't want to vote for a black woman, be it because of trans issue, be it whatever, but there were a number of people that said they were going to hold their nose and vote for Trump. This whole situation that he can't escape, by the way, because he was, by Jeffrey Epstein's own admission, he was Donald Trump's best friend for like 10 years, and I think Donald Trump talked about a 15-year relationship with him. There's so much video, there's so much evidence of all this stuff going on. He wished Gasoline, to Lisa's point, or Jelaine Maxwell, he wished her well when she child sex trafficker and wishing her well. Say all this to say that you just need, if we have a midterm election, assuming that things still work the way they're supposed to work, you just need for a percentage, like it could be 15, but you just need a percentage of people that voted for him this last time to vote down ballot. We need to get the House back. So to me, all of this stuff is effective, and there's really nothing he can do. There's nothing she can say. He can't run from this. But it's just we do need for some people to come over that are on the borderline. That's all it's going to come up.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I just don't. I think that this is, to Alan's point, I think this is the issue that pierces them. Not much else has. Not hurting other people. Not taking other people's rights. Not deporting other people. I don't think any of that, because none of that directly impacts them. Or so I think anyway. I think that this issue is the one that pierces.
Because if you stand out in front of a church on a Sunday morning, people are going in, and there's somebody standing there with a sign that says Mike Johnson supports pedophilia, imagine what you have to explain to your children.
Well, and here's another thing too, because that is a good idea, Alan, just to keep it out there. But the thing is, so Donald Trump doesn't stand for anything. At least I don't believe he doesn't stand for anything except for like going out and mess with underage girls or like young girls under 25. Like he made this comment about Paris Hilton when she was 12, like being amazed when she walked in the room and how he's known her for all these years. He's about that. He's about making money, having his name on stuff, being like a celebrity, a pseudo superstar, whatever you want to call him. That's what he stands on. The people who voted for him, he used people's unintelligence and built a foundation on that. So the draining the swamp thing, we're gonna get at the deep state. We're gonna release the Epstein files because we know the Clintons on there, and we're gonna get all these the radical left. We're gonna get them. Now he's part of the deep state. These people are principled. Be their principles like crazy to us, they do believe in what they believe in. Like QAnon, I'll start with the QAnon shaman, the dude that had the water buffalo horn from the Flintstones that was in the Capitol, where he put out tweets on X, where he's like, fuck Donald Trump and just all this stuff. These people really are affected by the fact that he is part of the deep state. They truly believe that he cared about them and he was on their side. And they're finding out, like I say, for the first time that Santa Claus is real, Easter Monday's not bringing them eggs. And I do think that that is going to affect them. And again, we just need to get the House back. So the 5 seats or whatever it is at this point, we need to get seats back so we can control the House and start to call some of these people to task. And I do think that all this, what's going on right now with this list is effective. Like I say, he built his foundation on this list and being that he was going to expose stuff, and now he's part of the cover-up. And, like I say, I think that's going to come back to bite him in the ass.
Maybe we found the bottom.
I think so. Yeah,
You
I
think
think
so,
that's
Mike? Honestly, because you know what? I don't even know. When I look at some of the stuff that's being posted, I don't think the bottom's even hit. There are some MAGAs that are literally they've shifted the conversation. Now that this whole Obama thing is going on, that's the new thing a lot of the MAGA influencers are jumping on now. The whole Obama needs to be arrested. This whole thing that the BNI bought for, we all know is a distraction, but that's the new talking point, honestly. Mike?
So there are people, and that's why I say sycophants and fanatics, you're not going to get. Let's forget about them. Anybody that's going to this thing that's getting away from his child predatory behavior, the Tiffany Johnson case, all these things, and can still talk about Obama, those are fanatics. You're not going to get those people. The people I'm trying to get are the people that love America, that love democracy, and really thought that Trump was going to drain the swamp, that he was going to just sort of open up all the files, that he was going to give us a true democratic process in their mind. These people that are principled and love America and stand on something and want to see the right thing done, even if their perspective is different than ours, those people, I think he's offended and he's hurt them in a way that I think is sort of it's not fixable. I just don't believe that he can get those people back, and those are people that we need, like I say, that didn't want to vote, even though with Kamala and everything she talked about with her programs, they just couldn't bring themselves to vote for a black woman because they feel like the founding fathers built this country for white men to rule over everybody, and we had 8 years of black president. They were upset by that, but they're principled. They don't believe in in pedophilia and pedophile, getting over. They hated Jeffrey Epstein. They don't like Ghislaine Maxwell. Those people are people that we need to just vote differently, to not hold their nose. They can't, I don't feel like they can hold their nose now. And I do feel like this is bottom for him because, again, Trump did this to himself. He built his whole thing on, I'm going to drain the swamp, I'm going to expose stuff. The Epstein files, all that stuff. And now, for him to hold something back from, this rabid base, and he created the rabies. He went around and bit people, and he's got a bunch of rabid people out there that want this list, and now he's saying you can't have this meat, you can't have this. So now it's gonna eat. It's eating him right now. And
how are they principled, right? When a lot of Epstein's situation was already there. There are pictures of him, Melania, Giselle, and Trump when because you do know that Epstein was the one who introduced Melania to Trump, right? I want y'all to know this. This is a true story. So it's weird to me that these people are supposedly principled. I get your point, but they're principled, but they overlooked all of these things that were already out there for public consumption, and now all of a sudden they're principled because now the files won't be released. That's weird to me.
Chris, I disagree with you in this sense. This is about pricking people's conscience. It's about keeping it in front of their mind. I shouldn't say I disagree with you. That's the wrong way to characterize it. I agree with you, but it's our job to not let this go away and to find a fulcrum and keep beating on that.
He's kind of moonlight Muslim. It's not like he's Zionist.
He's Islamophobe. Yes. So, anyways, Nathan, brother, you weren't here for the conversation. He says, he makes the claim that I support Israel, and I told him all these facts: the ethnic cleansing by force, the UN resolution says they have the right to return, they can come back and get their land back. There's a lot of things he doesn't agree with it. I don't even know how that makes sense. You have to be consistent. You have to agree to all of this thing. This is how the state was created. Otherwise, I don't even know how you're taking this position. It's just tough. I've been there, Pepe. I've been there, done it, right? That yes, they should have a home, but not in British-mandate Palestine. They were gonna go to Uganda or Argentina in the beginning.
That's kind of but there's people like me, which I don't want to get into the indigeneity thing. That's super messy, but they do have. There has at least been some Jews that have been living there for a long point in time. There is a historical connection. But that being said, I understand. I don't think that is a reason for them to come in and displace any group of people.
It was less than 10%.
But they do have at the end of the day, they do have a country today. Okay, it's the only country that is Jewish majority. I want to see the Palestinians live in peace with Israel and not be. Nothing bad happened to the Palestinians. I just don't. I think it's at this point in time in history, it's unreasonable to expect them to give up their country.
You can't create a state by terrorizing people. You cannot create a state by terrorizing people every day, right? For the past over 50 years. I think
every country in the New World, and even in the Old World, okay. There was invasions. There were people that were enslaved. There were people that were genocided. Just everything. At what point do you? I understand it's a newer country, but at what point is it just you guys want peace and not to continue to fight over?
Can I answer that, please? Can I say something?
I think Fatma wanted to go really quick. Go Fatma, and then you can go after Fatma. Okay, say Fatma.
Wednesday. It's not your day today, okay?
You jump in the middle of a conversation with your fucking bullshit. Can you say something else?
Let her finish.
Fucking nonsense.
She wants to say anything.
Hang on. She did ask for a mic. Did you want to say something?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I want to ask anybody on stage who has been to Israel, who has stepped a foot on that land. Anyone? Because I have... I've been there.
Lots of crap.
Okay, so what's the okay? Follow up. What's the next question? Like, okay,
We're
then what?
talking about their appearance, right? And I've been there, and as someone who has been there and see it with my own eyes, a lot, maybe 70% of people who live there, they look Arab.
So you saw 70% of the population.
I mean, not 70% of the population I saw, but just
more than 50% of the.
From the population I saw.
They do not look fucking Arab. They look.
I don't think I understand. Of the Jews that live there, the Middle Eastern Jews are outnumbered.
I'm just saying facts.
So where did they come from?
She's correct because you have to look at. Okay, they come from all over the Middle East, like literally all over.
Why?
Iraq told them they had to leave. Iran told them they had to leave.
He's actually kind of correct. Okay.
And this was like right after the creation of Israel.
Yeah. So the Mossad went over there and made it real dangerous for Jews to live there. So it's like, oh yeah, look deeper to this.
Why didn't they expel them prior?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it had to do with Israel.
Do you know, as of today's date in Iran, which is Israel's biggest enemy, Iran, the big monster in that region, there is a little bit over 35,000 Jews there.
There is today? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, actually the oldest, yeah.
You know, there are Jews in Asia.
Well, I mean, I've heard. 45. Okay, 45. And then if you look at you have a higher percentage, which is Mizrahi and Sephardi, and then if we stop looking at the Jews, 20% Arab. So you literally have a brown population is clearly the majority of Israel. Like the whites are the minority there.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Well, it's a little misleading because they promoted Ashkenazi Jews to marry Mizrahi Jews, so what you end up with is really half white.
That's
so. Well, I don't think it's not really what I don't think it's promoted.
People can. It is the Middle East. You do can.
Sure, no, I do.
I got the numbers here. It says approximately 50 to 55 are Sephardic, Ashkenazis 30 to 35, Ethiopian 1.5 to 2%, and other mixed 10 to 15%.
And first of all, I can only tell you from what Israelis have told me on here, but they did tell me that there was some racism at this, with the first generation that lived there. The European Jews kind of looked at the others as sure, yeah, they kind of looked at them as, all right, stop. They looked at, like, hey, shut the fuck up!
I'm just
Let me finish. You keep on you're ankle biting while I'm talking. Just shut up.
I'm not ankle biting.
You are.
One at a time. I still haven't been able to talk.
Well, no, Wednesday, I was in the middle of a sentence and you were talking.
Hey, guys, stop telling her to shut the fuck up. Listen, Pepper, you got 30 seconds, make your point, then it's after that's Wednesday.
So, no, this is only coming from Israelis on here. They were saying, like the first generation, they looked at each other as different. There were some cultural differences. They kind of looked at it as like, oh, they're different. It's like a different. It was kind of a little bit taboo to mix, but according to them, they're saying that is not a taboo at all anymore in Israel, and that it's not. They kind of just look at each other as being Jews, and so they can you find a Jew you love, you can just marry them. It doesn't matter what they're not.
Okay, so what I wanted to say is you made a comment. That back in the day, countries attacked other countries, and there were slaves, and people conquered people. That was back in the days. We live in the 21st century, and because of World War II, all the countries got together and signed the Geneva Convention, and there's laws to war now. And everything that Israel is doing to the Palestinians, they're not following the Geneva Convention. We're not barbarians, okay? We're not living in the 1400s anymore. the 1500 anymore, the 16. We live in the 21st century. We literally at the pinnacle of AI right now, of it being sentient. Okay? So I don't know why you guys keep on going back to the 1500s, to the 1600s, as if we're fucking cavemen back then. We're in the 21st century. Get with the fuck. Get with it.
I mean, I don't know which word.
You made that comment. Oh, which is
yes, only because one person had said it doesn't matter how far you go back to the roots.
We are clear that up. He's talking about the root of the foundation of the making of Israel. You went all the way to the 1500s with the Islamic ruling and stuff like that when they took over Constantinople. And now it's Islam. Who's so bitter about that, huh?
You asked us earlier in the conversation to get you an exemption. You can go as far as the 1940s. And then when you got you an exemption from the 1940s, you didn't like that. And you jumped into another. That's what I
It's the 1500s.
I can. There are. I think how to word this. I think at the right point in time, if the Native Hawaiians, for example, have the capability to strangle, drown, stone to death, beat to death every non-Hawaiian that was on the island and banish them, I would have supported it. I think, they've basically been genocided. Who's pure Hawaiian anymore? The language is pretty much dead.
On top of that,
And they were subjugated on their. They were basically they took. You had foreigners take over the best real estate on their island, treat them like trash, and flood them with non-Hawaiians. I mean.
Clearly sounds.
I guess there is. I can always make a case for resistance, but. It's like at what point? I think it gets to a point to where it's like, all right, you guys have been fighting for this long. It seems like you want something they're not willing to give, and vice versa.
So let me ask you this: what do you think? What do you think should happen? What is a fair solution that you can give to?
Well, I think that I personally
listen. With both sides having equal and fair rights. Let's hear your.
Sure. I would say that I even though this is super hesitant, but this is idealistic. There was let's say a two-state solution. Israelis could not come onto your land. Period. Point blank. So the people in the West Bank, Gaza, they have complete sovereignty. You guys would not attack each other. And I do think that, there should maybe be a case made for reparations to be paid to those that had land.
Or give one piece of evidence that he was in the Mossad, or an asset.
Well, yeah,
you have it.
I get the evidence.
You told me that his girlfriend's father was in the Mossad. That doesn't make he's in the Mossad.
Well, I mean, that
gives if your father is a bus driver, does that make you a bus driver?
Well, no. If my father was a bus driver and I was hanging around, or if no one knew that I was, what I did for work, but they saw me in a uniform that bus drivers wear, one can assume.
Well, I can name some of the things that Jeffrey Epstein gave tax advice.
But hold on, for blackmailing, for blackmailing, it is alleged that Trump had to pay him a little bit of money for him to. This is Trump's biographer that talks about this. Not sure why the guy would have. Not sure the guy. The guy was that hung out with Epstein a little bit, and because Epstein wanted him to write his biography, just like Trump, right? The guy that saw the pictures of while with Epstein, saw the pictures of Trump with stains on his pants with two topless girls, right? Come on, dude.
Have you seen that photo? I have not.
Hey, it came from a credible source. It's alleged.
Have you seen the photo?
It's alleged, right? No one else will. Of course we won't. But hey, look.
Well, then why talk about something that somebody alleges?
It's because that guy is a very credible guy, right?
Well, you don't even know his name.
Yes, you do. That's why I have friends like you. So either way, you know what I'm talking about.
You're calling somebody credible and you don't even know who they are.
Yeah, who's credible? I'd have to look it up, but I don't know the assholes.
like it was.
2.5 years now. My last dental checkup was perfect. This fresh dental gel works because it breaks that molecular bond with your plaque. Pretty simple. The plaque off the tooth is a disease-causing problem. The nice part, several universities now have said
that? That's the sound. James was missing the... If you train too much, they think you have no life.
Even more. And so that is the strategy. When
Talking about that pubic pen?
What did you think?
The pubic pen that sizes the mills? I know there was discussion about an auto pen.
More likely to happen. I think he's going to lose faith in the base. He's definitely going to lose in the midterms. He may lose huge in the midterm. And it's not gonna bode well for the next 2.5.
He'll lose hugely.
Or bigly. What did he say? Bigly?
He's a bigly person, so he's gonna lose bigly. I'm hoping. I know something. What I do know, I'm not as what is it, keyed in as you guys with this political stuff. I don't know. I'm really skeptical about the midterms. I don't know. I just have a bad feeling about the midterms, but I could be wrong. Probably am wrong, but because people are so apathetic lately, and it's just, I don't know if it's just fatigue of this whole situation. Like, they feel hopeless. Like, none of this stuff is gonna work. You know, they feel like every time they vote doesn't count. They feel like every time, you know, they try to do the right thing, it just doesn't work out. So I don't know. So Lisa,
hey everybody. Speaking of midterms, speaking of midterms, I'm not sure if you guys talked about James Tallarico, state representative here in Texas. Stop it. I am talking about Texas, but James Tallarico.
I love him, Deborah.
Yes, he was on Joe Rogan, and he's calling out the gerrymandering, and he actually said today on Jake Tapper, he called it what it was. He said he's trying to rig the election here. He's trying to get Abbott to redistrict in 5 areas.
Yes, thank you.
That would pull those votes so that they would end up with 5 more representatives.
I will relax and I'll take a rest.
And basically, start stealing elections around the country. But James Tallarico is his name. He is white male, has a conservative feel to him the way he speaks. Would you agree, Dr. A.G.?
Funding for our schools and hospitals
Yeah.
and roads, and
Yeah,
that should be
I think he.
Well, I mean, he would appeal, I think, is what I get from him.
Yeah.
But he's definitely a Democrat.
Yeah.
He ain't playing with Trump. He ain't scared of Trump.
I think his appeal is that he's principled, right? And he argues from a principle rather than a political belief, so to speak. So I think that's his appeal.
Is that the pastor?
But one thing that he did say today was his father was a preacher, a Baptist preacher, and he was raised to love and take care of people, not hurt them.
Isn't he a pastor?
He didn't say he was. I mean, I didn't hear him say he was. His dad was. I'm not sure if he is, but he said that. That's how he was raised. He said that we're all immigrants, and we're supposed to take care of strangers. He just speaks well. But he said we need to focus on how to get where we need to get, and not spend too much time on Donald Trump and all of the stuff that they've done.
Yeah,
he's one of the ones, guys.
That's the guy I was thinking of. I've heard him preach many messages in the pulpit. I want to say he's like Catholic or something like that. I don't know.
That's not this guy. His granddad was a Baptist preacher.
I just looked up his picture. It's the guy I was thinking of.
Yeah, but he's not a Catholic.
Well, I'm saying he had on some robes and some stuff like that. He may not be Catholic, but I'm gonna look up the stuff because I didn't know he was a politician. I knew him as preaching, and that's why I followed him. But I didn't know he was a politician. I'm gonna look up some more of his stuff. I like that guy. I've been following that guy for a minute.
And Joe Rogan was right there with him, right? So he's one to watch. James.
I like him. He's not a preacher. He went to seminary, but he's not a pastor. I don't know. Maybe he was a pastor. I don't know. I didn't come across that. I never.
If you look him up on YouTube, you'll see a lot of his sermons that he delivered.
What's his name?
James Tallarico. If you look him up on YouTube, you can see a lot of his sermons that he delivered.
Yeah, he may have delivered sermons in a church, but he was not a practicing pastor. He didn't have a church.
Okay, guys, let me switch over. Oh, just in between going to talk about Trump and Barack Obama, I was waiting for Haitian to come back so we could play the clip, but the clip of Barack coming out and speaking for himself, I knew that was going to happen. I knew it was just like, because I know we had this conversation in this room, and it's like, ignore it. It's no big deal. He's not going to be able to do anything. Barack should just ignore this, but he didn't. He obviously feels it's important enough for him to come out. He released a statement. I forgot who released it, but anyway, he released a statement, and then he came out and spoke for himself. I consider myself the new Trent, the female version. It was just because I know somebody that knows somebody that knew that Barack was going to come out and make this statement, but he did. So I was waiting on Haitian. He said he's going to be ready in an hour, and he's still not in here. So I'm at the Apple store. So, okay. And just to put this in, did you guys know that Malcolm Jamal Warner's daughter was with him swimming? The 7-year-old, 8-year-old? Did y'all know that?
Yes.
Oh, you guys did? Okay, so Malcolm Jamal Warner's daughter, for those who didn't know, she was also swimming with him that day. And a lot of people tried to save Malcolm a person went out on, one went out on, there's one who was swimming, there's one who went out on a boogie board, and one that went out on a surfboard, because they saw them when they got pulled in that undertow, I guess you would call it. I'm not sure if I'm using the right terminology. It was a riptide. Okay. So they saw him, and these people, now you know there's some good people left on this earth to go out there and risk their lives to save people, strangers. I guess the man, I haven't checked on him. One went into, the swimmer is in critical condition. When they said when they went out there, they had both of them. The article that I was reading, I think I was reading it either in TMZ or either in the New York Post, I don't know. But the guy on the surfboard had to let go because they were afraid they weren't going to be able to get the child back, because the currents were getting, or whatever you guys are calling it, was getting too strong. So they had to, what I was reading, they had to let go of him. And this particular person that had the baby on the surfboard and took her back to shore. I mean, it is just such a sad story. It gets sadder all the time. And his body is back, I believe, in Cali, in Los Angeles, to be ready for the burial. And he did have an autopsy there, and he died, of course, of drowning. So anyway, you guys, I just had to throw that in. Anybody want to make any comment on that story?
I'm still holding my line, Lisa. I'm disappointed, but
Yeah, I'm just glad his daughter, can you imagine, at both of them? And like I said, there's still good people on this planet. Anybody who would get up and go try to save him and his daughter, God bless them and keep them, and I hope, their days may be long upon this earth. But, yeah. Okay.
I'm sure, because, when you get old enough where people your age starts dying, either by accident or whatever, it really changes your thought, and we're the same age.
Is that going to change your thoughts when you go to Costa Rica and hop up in that ocean?
No.
No?
No.
I don't know. Stuff like this changes me. When I saw Jaws, I never, ever again got in the ocean.
You know what, Lisa, though? My thing is, I know my kids are taken care of. I know families taken care of. The people that I want are taken care of. So, I'm going to go live life, but it does give me pause for thought, in the sense that, wow, I'm here where people my age actually die. It just hits different. Yeah, when it hits different. Like, this dude is the same age as me. Wow. So yeah, but it's not gonna stop my flow. I still want to go walk around the rim of the volcano and all that kind of good stuff.
GA, let me say this, my good brother. At minimum, being the intelligent being that you are, you should definitely identify which beaches have lifeguards and undercurrents at a bare minimum, right? Because that's public knowledge. So if I'm going to a foreign country, I'm going to research which beaches have which dangers, so I know how to move appropriately, or I know at least I have this much of a safety net as far as there being lifeguards presence and not undercurrents or riptides in that specific section, just to protect myself.
Oh, for sure, Gemini. I mean, I don't ever go, and y'all know I live at the beach. I don't go in the water by myself. I don't ever do that. I've never done that in my life. There's always 3 people with me, or 2 people with me. Even when I go for my run on the beach in the morning, or I go for my walk on the beach in the morning, I don't get in the water without anybody knowing that I'm there. We don't do that. Never done that, because even when I lived in Michigan, at least 3 kids died every year because of the riptides on Lake Michigan. So yeah, that's not something I've ever practiced, and you're absolutely right. Caution is, you have to be intelligent. So I've never gone swimming by myself, just jumping out in the water. Ooh, I'm gonna go for a swim. There's sharks down here where I live. I live on the Atlantic Ocean. Quit playing. I'm not doing that. And I don't think anybody should. I think you should always go with 2 people if you're going to get in the water. And I tell my daughters the same.
Beachside.
Hey everybody. For the record, riptides are also common in Florida and Hawaii. You know, they could be really on any body of water. They tend to be a little stronger in Panama and Costa Rica. But honestly, it can really happen anywhere. What I find most important is to make sure that everybody understands like what a riptide is and how you can get out of it, because you are inclined to want to swim back to shore.
I hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Because, you know, you are inclined to want to swim back to shore, but that is what will exhaust you because the riptide just takes you out to shore. So you either have to just tread water and float with the current so that you just get taken out, you know what I mean? You just get taken out away from the shore for a bit, and then you're out of the riptide and you can just swim back to shore. But I think, well, it just depends on your strength and like what you can do. But the goal is to either float with the riptide, let it take you out, and then you can just swim back to shore, or swim in the parallel direction to the beach, to the coastline, and you'll get out of the riptide, and then you can swim back to shore that way. But trying to swim in a straight line, so to speak, like back to shore where you came from, that's not a successful endeavor.
Just on that,
there's a lot of advanced swimmers who have died in a riptide as a result.
Exactly.
And I say this because I had to study it, because I can swim, but I'm pretty sure, I didn't know what it was, but I'm pretty sure that I got caught in a riptide before. I'm just not afraid to go out into like the deep, partly because I'm tall, you know, like, but yeah, just everybody like know what a riptide is and how to get out of it, because it can really happen almost anywhere.
When it happened, when those type of things happen, and all of your expertise that you got trained in go out the window. I haven't been caught up in a riptide, but I've seen somebody get caught up in it at home. And yeah, the person died, by the way. That's a deadly thing right there. When you're an expert swimmer, that you could get killed with that thing. What Dr. E, what she said is exactly what you're supposed to do. But it's sad. It's screwed up. It's messed up. But go ahead, Scott. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna add to that as accurate, and I'm a very strong swimmer. But what happens even with strong swimmers is once you realize that you're in a crisis out there swimming, you also start panicking, and then you can easily end up swallowing water or just, you know, losing your grip on reality and how you're supposed to do things and how you're supposed to swim, you know, with, you know, along the shore and all that, like you said, goes out the window and you start panicking, you're desperate, you're gasping for air, and then you don't have the strength to even stay afloat. And that's often what happens, even with fantastic swimmers.
And don't go for I got caught up as well. I got caught in one too in the Hawaii shores, back in San Diego. And yeah, to your point, Scotty, that is exactly what happened. And I was a swimmer in high school and stuff.
Yeah, we know you're the Speedo guy. We know.
Yeah, but hey, I mean too. To your point, I know you gotta remind us. Blue Speedos all the way. Anyways, so yeah, just swim. So what happened with me is I was lucky enough that there were some surfers that were on the side,
and I was struggling. Like that lactic acid kind of built up, and my body was like shutting down a little bit, and I was a little panicky. And luckily I was able to call over a surfer, and then I got on his board, rested a little bit, and then I was like, yeah, I'm kind of, and then we both kind of cruised parallel until I could kind of rest up, and then I was able to get close enough, and I came back. But yeah, man, you freak out because your body is just, you're exhausted, and you're in this perilous situation. Yeah, luckily I was able to call somebody in. And the thing is too, there's lifeguards there, but I think that sometimes they don't see you, you know? Especially if there's a lot of people on that beach, they have to scan a lot of area. So yeah, they do their best to try to mark off where the currents are, but you have to be aware at all times. You're doing what they can, you're doing what you can, but there's still always a possibility of slipping through cracks. So yeah, take that advice. 100%.
I just think as black people, sometimes we gotta know what's not for us. Sometimes you gotta know this is my limitation. Sometimes you gotta know I am not a water vessel. I need to keep my black ass on the motherfucking sand and wade around knee deep and enjoy.
Come on now.
I'm just being real.
I hate that black shit. I hate that. I'm black so I can't swim.
No, you're
black so I can't swim. That's some bullshit.
If you're a strong swimmer, then go for it. But if you're not, then you might want to know your limitations, because being openly confident in the wrong environment can leave your ass with a lung full of water.
Being held hostage.
Yeah, I agree, but don't be like,
mind your black-owned business.
He's killing me, yo. Enjoy the water. Be responsible. Black, white, brown, whatever.
But also teach the kids at an early age how to swim, like the basics and the safety and all that, because that really does make a difference.
Yeah, Scotty, like you were saying, the first thing that they teach is the panic, right? Like because the panic is what kills most people.
Oh yeah.
Like just to get control of the panic, and remember, you have skills that can get you out of this. Calm down, relax, don't panic, don't panic. Yeah, you got to do that. Get control of the panic.
It's literally what will kill people in a lake. Forget about an ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Because before you know it, your mouth is... What's that?
Swimming pools too.
Oh, sure, yeah, totally. But I'm saying, like, the second you panic, your mouth is probably open, gasping for air, and then a little wave, even if it's in a pool, you'll swallow that shit, and then before you know it, you'll be under. Like, you won't have any breath left. So that shit can happen quickly, and even having a lifeguard there, like, you'll be lucky if you're out in the ocean that they can actually see you, get to you, and, be able to do mouth to mouth or whatever it is. Because that shit, all of that happens quickly. I've seen it enough. Not people dying, thank God, but people being recovered.
With 70% of identified grooming gang suspects were white, 6.9% were Pakistani too.
I'm sorry, I was paying people in. If you're on stage, please pay people in. Oh, Sandra. I pinged Dr. Alvin. He's already here. What's up, Dr. Alvin? One of my favorite people on this app.
I did want to point something out, JB, but you go ahead and finish.
No, I was just going to say hello to Dr. Albert, man. I love this dude. He's amazing. Dr. Albert, how you doing today, friend?
What's up, JB? How you doing,
Man,
how's everybody?
I have to tell you, I am eating this up by the shovel loads, bro. I'm excited to see our country finally standing united on one thing, at least.
I can understand it, man. I hope
I'm glad Congress is trying to move it stuff.
What do you do with him or somebody else? I would not. I'll get that diamond and leave. Do not be sitting around with the diamond. You don't even want to be in that bitch